Good morning, friend, and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Morgan, and you are on my homestead here in Wyoming. And I am so excited because we are officially kicking off the 2024 Pantry Challenge. Now, if you've been here for a little while, you know we did the 2023 Pantry Challenge. We also did a Summer Pantry Challenge, and now we are back at it with our 2024 New Year Pantry Challenge. This was originally started by Three Rivers Homestead, I believe it was, and it's just something that I absolutely love doing every year. It's just a great kind of cleanse. It's a great way to save a ton of money. I know after the holidays it gets really expensive, so I am so excited to kick it off. Now, this week really should be pretty easy. Right now, today, and probably into tomorrow, I'm kind of into the leftover consumption mode. I'm trying to get rid of just the random things that are in the fridge left over from the holidays. We did have some family over, and so we just kind of have a lot of mismatched things left over from all of the meals. So for breakfast today, this is like the most simple breakfast ever. We have one bagel, one blueberry bagel left over. We have some cream cheese, and then I'm going to have a banana with that. And then for lunch, we had made we had made moose brats with some of our family. So I'm gonna have a moose brat along with some sauerkraut and an orange. So that's gonna be my lunch and dinner for today. So this really couldn't be any more simple. I'm just finishing up my cup of coffee for the morning, just Black Rifle coffee. It is my absolute favorite coffee. We love the hazelnut flavor, so I'll be having this every day. And I'm gonna go ahead and get my bagel toasted, get some cream cheese on it, and then I'm gonna get back to work, and I will catch you when it is dinner time. All right, you guys, when I said day one was gonna be the easiest pantry challenge in the world, I was not kidding. I really am focusing on clearing out all of the leftovers. I like to make sure no food goes to waste. And so while we had company here, someone brought baked beans. And so we have just a little bit of baked beans left. So we're gonna have these with our dinner. And then we also made moose burgers while everyone was here. And so we defrosted 3 pounds of meat. We only used probably a pound and a half or 2 pounds. And so I knew we were gonna have a lot left, but I figured we were already making the meat mixture, and burger patties and meatloaf are basically the same ingredients. So what we did was we formed burger patties, fed everyone the burgers, and then with the rest, we just packed it in here to make a meatloaf, and I can literally just bake it in this container. So I have this sitting up, coming up to room temperature. All we added in here was ground moose, breadcrumbs, 1 egg per pound, about 2 mushrooms per pound, just finely cut up. We did salt, pepper, olive oil, and that's it. If you're using beef, for example, you won't need to add olive oil because moose is a very lean meat. All of the white pieces that you see in here, that's not fat, that's either mushrooms or breadcrumbs. So super, super lean. I'm gonna throw this in the oven. We're gonna bake this up. I will probably put like a honey mustard topping on this, and then we like to dip it in ketchup. And then during that burger meal, one of our family members also made some sweet potatoes. And so we're gonna finish off the sweet potatoes, and then we also have some regular potatoes mixed in there. So this is literally a leftover dinner. Couldn't have been any easier. I think tomorrow we'll probably start cooking again, but these are just the leftovers I wanted to get out of the fridge to make sure we were not wasting any food. That's kind of the whole point of the pantry challenge. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these things heated up. I'm probably just gonna bake the potatoes, bake the meatloaf, microwave these, and we'll be good for dinner. So for my meatloaf topping, I usually just mix a grainy mustard and honey. I normally do about 2 parts mustard to 1 part honey and add in some red pepper flakes. But I actually have this honey mustard from one of our local honey farmers here in Wyoming. And I got it over the summer. So I decided I wanted to use that up while we're in the pantry challenge. So I just added that as my topping. Then I added both the meatloaf and the potatoes into a 350-degree oven. And I actually ended up putting the beans in the oven as well once the meatloaf and potatoes were about done, and that made it so easy because everything was done in the same kitchen appliance. So here's our dinner. It was so yummy. Good morning, friend. We are back, and I am getting going on my breakfast. I basically lived off of this breakfast in college, so it is tried and true, one of my go-tos. And what I'm gonna do is just, all you need is a egg, a banana, cinnamon if you want it, and some oats. So first thing I'm gonna do is just break my banana in half. I'm gonna get my pan over here heating up with some spray. And I almost forgot, you're gonna want a little bit of salt as well. So all I do is just mash up my banana. And this is perfect for if you have kids. It's basically, we're making a pancake that is a lot more nutritionally dense than, say, like a flour pancake. So this is seriously one of my favorite meals. So we're just gonna mash up this banana. And this is what I eat for breakfast quite often, to be honest. If we have bananas, I'm probably making this for breakfast. And it works really well also with frozen bananas. So if you're trying to get rid of some of those frozen bananas that you have from when the bananas were on sale or whatnot, I just put the equivalent of one banana in, microwave it for about 30 seconds, and then do this exact same process. Then we're gonna add in, wow, that egg cracked really weird. 1 egg. Let me go wash my hands. We're gonna whip that in, get that mixed up nicely. If you want, at this point, you can add flour, whatever kind of flour you like. I prefer oats. So I'm gonna do about, probably a little over 1/4 cup. No, probably about 1/4 cup of oats. I'm gonna do just a little bit of salt, and I like to add cinnamon in mine. And you can add whatever seasonings you like. I like to make mine, top mine with peanut butter. So I like to keep that in mind as I'm making it, because I basically am wanting this to be cinnamon, peanut butter, banana. I will say it's really good with chocolate chips in it. I don't think I'm gonna add any today. Okay. That's the consistency. I would say this is on the runnier side. That was a really large egg, but I don't really want any more oats, so we're just gonna go with this. My pan is nice and hot, so I'm going to dump this in. And the way I look at it is, worst case scenario, I just made a really yummy scramble. So if it wasn't gonna hold together, we'll just make it into a scramble. So for me, when you can start seeing the bubbles and then the edges start crispening, it's usually when I try to flip it. It's gonna loosen it up around the edges. I'm actually gonna leave it for just a little bit longer. See how when I go to like flip it, it kind of looks like it's gonna fall apart? We're gonna let that cook a little longer. Okay. Then you just say a prayer and flip fast. Pretty good, pretty good. All right, we're gonna let that side just cook. This would be easier if I did a bigger pan, because then I actually have room for like the spatula, but it's perfect. All right, I'm just gonna spread a little peanut butter on this. Yum. And just a little bit of syrup for some sweetness. That's it. All right, friends, I'm gonna go eat my breakfast. For lunch, I'm gonna have leftovers from dinner last night. We had just some meatloaf and sweet potatoes left, so I'm gonna have that for my lunch, and I will catch you when we are making dinner. All right, friends, we are getting going on dinner. Tonight we're gonna have gyros. I'm gonna use some elk. So all I'm doing is just getting this, it's still a little bit frozen, which makes thinly slicing it a lot easier. So I am just cutting it, let me show you an example, against the grain. That's still kind of frozen, so it's hard to see. So see how there's just short, the grain's clearly running upwards? That's exactly what we want. That'll help make the meat very tender. So I'm just slicing all of this meat against the grain as thin of strips as possible, and then we're gonna go ahead and get this marinating. Now the meat only needs to marinate for about an hour. We're gonna go a little bit longer just because I need this to defrost the rest of the way anyway, and I need to cut it, so I figured While I'm working on dinner slightly, I may as well just get it going now and get the marinade done. It'll just be extra flavorful, which I don't think any of us will mind. So I'm just gonna slice this and then I will bring you in for our marinade. All right, so to this, we're gonna do 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Sorry, 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And this is about 1.5 pounds of meat. Two tablespoons of lemon juice. 1 teaspoon of red wine vinegar, or a little more. Salt and pepper to taste. Then we need 1 tablespoon of oregano. We're gonna give this a quick mix. Just like that, and into the fridge this will go for a couple of hours. All right, friends, so first thing we are going to do is just shred up this cucumber. I went ahead and peeled it because it is a grocery store cucumber. Had it have been a garden cucumber, I probably wouldn't have, but these skins are really tough, I think. So this is just 1 medium cucumber. And then what we're gonna do is just put it over this bowl, and then we're gonna salt it. Salting it just helps pull out and release some of that liquid. I'm just gonna stir it around, make sure it's all over this bowl. And we're just going to strain off some of this water. Now while this sits, I'm gonna dry off my cutting board. And we are gonna cut up some veggies. So we like tomato, onion, and I think I'll probably do some lettuce as well on ours. There is this restaurant in Colorado that has the best Greek food. We absolutely love it. So I kind of try to emulate that. It's called Cafe Athens, if you ever are in Colorado. And I like to scoop out the seeds because I find that they make these really runny. The nice part is the chickens love the seeds, so nothing goes to waste. So we're just going to chop these up. That should probably be good. Then I'm gonna grab some lettuce. Okay, then this is just teeny tiny romaine, so I'm just going to slice it up. And this poor onion, she has seen better days, but it's okay. Okay. That's all the slicing and dicing we need to do. And finally, we're gonna get going on our tzatziki sauce. So I'm just gonna give this a mix. Oops. This is about 1 cup. To this, we're gonna add a pinch of garlic powder. This is homegrown. We're gonna add some salt, some pepper, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of vinegar. Ooh, that was a big teaspoon. It's okay. And then we're just going to add in our strained cucumbers into our tzatziki sauce. All right, and then we're gonna go ahead and mix that together, stick this in the fridge, and we are done with our sauce. So my favorite way to make this is just oiling a cast iron pan, and then I'm just laying our thin strips down. These honestly cook so fast because the strips are so nice and thin. So I just quickly put them on, gave them a nice char on the outside, and these were ready to go. Sam is always our assembler for this, so yeah, I let him take the reins. But all we do is just cut these pitas in half. These pitas just came from the grocery store. They come in a pack of 4, so we'll usually use 2, and then I'll freeze 2 for a future meal. So we just cut those open and then just stuff the meat inside along with the lettuce, tomato, onions, and that tzatziki sauce that we had made up already. This is honestly one of our favorite meals. It's just so fresh and light and yummy, and I really need to keep this in mind during garden season. I don't know why it never crosses my mind in the summer, but these are all ingredients that come out of the garden. It would be so cheap and fresh and yummy to make. So this summer, let's all remind each other that we need to make these. Other than that, we just top it off with our Greek yogurt sauce, and this was good to go. They were so yummy. We pretty much ate all of it. Hey friends, and welcome back. It's the next day, and these are all of the leftovers that we had, so hardly any. So I skipped breakfast, to be honest. I'm gonna cut up a little bit more lettuce. I have some steak in here. We were out of tomatoes, so I'm gonna cut up a few more tomatoes. I have a pita bread. I'm gonna dress it with some of this tzatziki sauce, and that is going to be my lunch. But I want to also, while I have a little bit of time and I have the cutting board out, I want to get going on dinner as well. It's one of those things where if I have a cutting board out and I'm already slicing, why not just get it all done at once? So what I'm doing is just slicing up my lettuce. And then because we have a good amount, I'm gonna throw it in the salad spinner. And I like to slice mine before spinning it because I feel like I can get the water off a lot easier, and I feel like I get every piece so much more clean. And since it's Pantry Challenge, I might plant this in some water. So I'm gonna wash this, and then while that spins and dries, I'm gonna get going on dinner. Well, I need a few more tomatoes for lunch, but I know that I have a very busy evening ahead of me. I need to run into town. And then Sam has meetings up until evening time. So when he gets home, I know he's gonna be hungry. So I wanna make sure that our dinner is ready to go. But I know that I won't have time to necessarily do that this evening. So what I'm gonna do is just prep it up now. Well, the parts that take a little bit of time. Like I said, we're doing fish tacos. So I have the fish defrosting. I'm gonna marinate that and get it on our plate, or on the baking sheet. That way when we get to dinner time, when I get home from town, all I have to do is literally just stick it in the oven for just a couple of minutes, and everything is set and ready to go. So it should be very, very simple. Here, I'm just going to make a quick mango salsa. Now, traditionally, I'll do a pico and a mango salsa. However, I just don't feel like making them separate. I figure it's kind of the same ingredients. It's all going in the same place. So I might as well just do it once. So in my mango salsa, I'm obviously going to add a mango. And the way I like to cut my mangoes is I like to peel it first and then slice it. I know there's about a million different ways. You can do it on the cup, cut it into squares. I feel like everyone has their own way, but this is how I grew up cutting mangoes. I used to love mangoes for a snack as a kid. So this is just kind of how I continue carrying on. There are a couple bad spots, so we'll just cut those out. It's no problem. It's the hard part about eating mangoes in January. They're kind of hard to come by. Okay, let's clear this cutting board. The chickens love mango peels. Then we'll slice the mango. You can find the pit is right at the center. And then just follow down the pit with your knife. And I like to cut off the sides as well. Then you can gnaw on this nice little snack. Then I'm just going to cut these mangoes pretty small. And chuck them in. I find that a mango salsa, for example, is so yummy with the fish. I feel like you get that salty, you get the sweet with the mangoes. I absolutely love it. The citrusy, It's to me if you don't have a mango or a peach or some kind of fruit to put in It's just not going to be the same. It's like a requirement. And then if there's any left over, it makes a great chip dip in the next days. Just washed my hand really quick. I don't know about you, but I just hate sticky fingers. Always kind of just been weird about that. All right, now we're gonna put in some onion. This is a pretty strong onion, so we're not gonna get crazy with it, but I do love onion. And if you want, you could definitely do pickled onions. That would be really, really yummy in this too. I'm just going with the fresh because we've got so many yummy fresh ingredients. I'm gonna grab some cilantro, and if I had a jalapeno, I would put that in as well, but I don't, so we'll use some cayenne. All right, now here's our cilantro. Put that in. If you have freeze-dried cilantro, that would work great. A little bit of brightness. Okay, so I'm gonna sprinkle some cayenne. I like to do a little bit of agave. If the mangoes were in season, you wouldn't have to do that, but that just helps bring out the sweetness. Some salt and just a splash of lemon juice, or sorry, this is lime juice for that acidity. Then I'll give it a quick stir. All right, that is it. Now when it comes to dinner, we'll pull out the lettuce. I'll pull out the mango salsa, some tortillas, some sour cream, some hot sauce, the fish, obviously, and we're done. It's that easy. All right, friends, it is time to get going on our fish. So again, this is just some walleye that we got in 2022. So all I'm gonna do is just take the walleye out and pat it as dry as I possibly can. Probably could have gotten away with just one of these, but I feel like I never know how hungry Sam is gonna be, so I'd rather have leftovers plus fish tacos. Who doesn't love fish tacos? All right, so I'm just patting these dry. I'm just using paper towels since it's raw fish. I like to just be able to throw these away. And then I'm just going to transfer this onto parchment paper. And then I just have some seasoned salt that I'm gonna sprinkle over the top. I'll probably flip this halfway through cooking. And actually I think I'm just gonna season this one side because we kind of flake it up on the tacos and I don't want it to be too salty. This is just like a copycat Lowry's. Perfect. And then I'm gonna put this into a 400-degree oven just to bake. So here Sam is just assembling his 2 tacos. We use the tortillas called Tortilla Land. You can get them at basically any grocery store, and they are just a raw tortilla that you cook up in a pan. I find these are a game changer. We absolutely love them. They are so much better than like a Mission tortilla or something along those lines. So here Sam's just adding in his walleye. He put some sour cream and some lettuce. Then he's putting his like mango pico on top of that, topping it off with some cheese, and we are going to enjoy our tacos. Friends, welcome back. Today is the last day of week 1 of the Pantry Challenge, and Sam and I have been down for the count. We came down with a bug, and so we really haven't been eating all that much. We've been eating Cheerios and crackers and Gatorade, but we are back. We are ready to rumble. Continue on with this pantry challenge. I'm grateful for the food that we did have in the pantry, just those easy to go items. The leftovers we had in the fridge made it so easy, but I have been craving a soup that one of my friends actually introduced me to. It is I don't even know how to explain it. It is like a brothy, I don't know, just stick around. It is so, so yummy. This is honestly probably my favorite soup. It's so easy to make. I'm gonna be putting some sausages that we just had in the freezer. They are moose sausages into ours, but you could totally leave the meat out. That's actually how the recipe is originally written. This is a screenshot I have from her cookbook. It is called White Bean Ribollita. I'm probably saying that wrong. If I am, let me know down in the comments, but it's so, so yummy. We're gonna start out with a lot of vegetables, and what's nice is a lot of these vegetables are more root vegetables, long-lasting vegetables, so this is perfect for the pantry challenge. So let's go ahead and get things cut up. We'll get the soup made. It comes together so, so fast, and I'm gonna just have this for probably lunch and dinner for the next few days. All right, let's get going. All right, so the most beautiful part about this recipe is how quickly it comes together. So we're gonna start with onions, carrots, celery. I'm actually gonna leave the celery out. Sam doesn't like celery, and he is not a picky eater, so I will follow that one. Okay, so I have my onion peeled. What's great about this recipe also is you can cut it up really, really big. It's like the vegetables are kind of a lot of the bite, so you don't have to finely dice anything. It's seriously one of the easiest things you can make. So if you're new to cooking, I highly, highly recommend this soup recipe. And Sam is actually out of town for the next few days, and he doesn't love brothy soups, and so I tend to make this when he is not home because he struggles getting full on brothy soups. Obviously, I add a lot to them, but I get it. I could eat like 10 bowls of soup and love it. He eats like 2 bowls of soup and is tired of eating soup and wants to move on. So I get that. I am just a soup kind of girl, so works perfect whenever he's out of town to make these. And then I have some carrots. These are just carrots from the garden. Because they're from the garden, I'm not going to peel them. I just wash them really well. And then we're just gonna dice these up. The pieces are not looking great, so we're gonna leave that out. The way I store my carrots, and they're still crispy, and I pulled these out of the garden in August, September? It's now January. I keep these in a black tub down in my cold room, which is basically just a storage room, and I keep them in pine shavings. So that's it. You just bury them in pine shavings, make sure that the tops are already off, and then you just make sure that the carrots aren't touching each other, and they will last literally until spring. That is my favorite way. It makes carrot storage so easy because I love fresh carrots. And traditionally with this section, you would also add in cabbage. I only have a purple cabbage and I kind of want to keep that fresh for a little while. Cabbage lasts for forever. So I'm not going to put cabbage in here, mostly because it would turn the soup purple or brown. So I'm going to avoid the cabbage, but this is where you would cut your cabbage into just kind of, I would say bigger than coleslaw shreds, but you just kind of want to shred it up. But, bigger pieces probably right around there. Okay, this is ready to get going. While we get this on the stove, then we'll cut up everything else. All right, all I'm gonna do is just put this on some medium heat. I'm gonna add in some olive oil to my pan. In total, you will probably want about a tablespoon or 1.5 tablespoons. And then I'm going to just quickly a little bit of salt on these veggies just to help kind of draw out some of that moisture. Once this comes up to heat, we will put the vegetables in and get these kind of cooking down. All right, it's not totally hot, but we're gonna call that good. And now let's get going on our garlic and sausage preparation and our kale. All right, so back over at the cutting board, I just need to get our garlic all prepared. So, oh, that's weird. It's one clove made up of a ton of little ones. That's fine. What we're gonna do is just get the cloves ready, and then I'm gonna use my garlic press to put them into the soup once the onions and carrots are getting tender. So I'm just gonna put my good pieces over here and just get them peeled. If you're going on a date or meeting someone new, maybe you don't wanna, have this soup burst. But I promise it's so yummy. All right, I'm actually gonna put my garlic just in this little container because I need this bowl for our kale. And I love this because it uses up so much kale. You could do frozen kale. I just have fresh here. So I'm just gonna cut this off. We'll give that to the chickens. And you wanna pull it off of this middle part. I don't know what that's called. And I know on a lot of times with like really fresh kale, you can just run it backwards. But because this is, it's not bad by any means, but it's a little bit limper, I can't do that. So what I mean by run it backwards, you can usually just grab this right here and then run it like that. It's not working for me though, because this is a little bit older kale, so It's no problem. All right, so over here, our carrots and onions, kind of forgot about them, but they're gonna be fine, are ready. So I'm just going to put our garlic in the press and get that in there. We're just gonna cook that for about 1 minute. To stir that. So I'm gonna add in a can of diced tomatoes. And if you have garden diced tomatoes, we love that even more, but I don't. And we're just gonna let that sit there for just a minute. And then I just have 1 can of Great Northern beans. You can really use any kind of bean you like. We'll give that a quick stir. All right, now that that's all in, we're gonna add in 5 cups of chicken broth. And we're just gonna let that come up to temperature. All right, friends, we are boiling. So I'm now going to add in our kale. We're just gonna let this cook for like 3-ish minutes, just until it becomes wilty. And then we can cut the heat. And then at the same time, I also cut up our moose brats just into some slivers. These have already been cooked, so they just need to like warm up. Smells so good. Then I'm gonna add in a lot of peppers. And then I'll probably need to add in more salt, but I wanna give it a taste test before doing so. All right, I just grabbed a clean spoon. I'm gonna give this a taste test. Cheers. It's just so like healthy and clean, but it still feels like dense. Oh, it's so good. I'm gonna add in a touch more salt. Like that much. And we're gonna call that a day. All right, friends, just like that, my soup is all done, and we are through with week 1 of the pantry challenge. Honestly, this week was pretty easy. Being sick definitely made me grateful for some of the convenience things we had, like crackers and Cheerios and those types of things. We came very close to whipping out a frozen pizza one night, but we didn't. We ate some leftovers instead. So this week was super easy. In terms of food that we still have fresh, we still have garlic, onions, potatoes, a thing of cherry tomatoes, pumpkins, bananas, cabbage, cutie oranges, apples, and grapefruit. So we are doing great on the produce side of things. And this week was just fun. This is kind of the easy week where we get to challenge ourselves with some fun recipes, but nothing is super hard yet. So I'm looking forward to it. Next week, I think is going to be great. I have some fun breakfast recipes in mind, along with some fun dinner recipes to use some of our garden vegetables. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we also have tons of frozen vegetables. So after we use up the fresh, it's not a problem. We have enough frozen vegetables to last us for a very long time. So we're gonna do just fine. My freezers are still filled to the brim. It's only been a week, but we are working away at it. So thank you all so much for being here. I'm really excited to bring you along with me next week, which is going to start right now. For the rest of the day, I'll be eating the soup for probably my lunch and dinner. I love it so much. And then I like to just make some garlic bread on the side with a little bit of cheese on top. So I'm gonna go enjoy this soup. Thank you so much for being here, friend. I appreciate you so much. If you liked today's video and you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe and like this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for being here. Bye, friend.